All right, it being 6 o'clock, I'd like to call the Senior Center Town Hall School Admin Joint Building Committee to order. First item on the agenda, I'll go through a roll call. I know we have duplicate committee members here, so. First for the Town Hall School Admin Building Committee, Diane Allen.
Here.
Kevin Kyra.
Here.
John Doherty.
Here.
Jesse Finley.
Late but here.
Alternate Steve Turner.
Here.
Jack Holloway.
Yep.
Paul Melorani.
Here.
Paul Ruggiero.
Here.
All right, see Jeff Hall's here. Senior Center Building Committee.
Yeah, you're not. Oh, the senior.
Senior Center Building Committee. Diane, you're here.
Yes,
There,
here.
Jack's here. Teresa Manganelli.
Here.
Terry Marciello.
Here.
All right. Will Maselli.
Here.
All right, thank you very much. Next item on the agenda, everybody should have received the minutes of September 15th, 2021. That was
That was a long time ago.
right. We have some minutes to approve, so is there any discussion?
I think Terry's last name is spelled with an I and not a Y, other than that, right?
Oh, that's true.
Terry?
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, it's supposed to be
Terri. Second page, there's just a couple of spots there, second paragraph.
Yeah, sorry, this is my first one.
Very good. All right, then with the amended,
Motion to accept as amended.
motion to accept John Doherty.
Second.
Second, Teresa Manganelli. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposition, thank you. All right, next, first of all, thank you everybody for all your hard work. You know, we were able to get through a big hurdle moving forward on a need for these two projects for the town of Wilmington. So we have a lot of work ahead of us. Some time to go. So we'll be talking about meetings and things to come. Tonight, we do not have our OPM or designers here. We'll have some discussion and you'll understand further on down the agenda. Next item on the agenda is discussion on our next steps for each project. So as far as these the next steps coming, we're going to be looking for the continuation of services. Once we get through that, the designers will finalize the site plans and design details for each one of these projects, kind of dig down into the details of the sites and of the building designs as we go through it. We will set up a meeting schedule. It won't be as aggressive as we have done previously, every other week going through. Of course, we will meet once the design development gets together. We'll probably be going once a month at that point. I'll determine I'll reach out, see what everybody's availability is. I know Wednesdays was good for some. We'll continue on. I know the Finance Committee is going to be having some meetings coming up, so with everything going on. But I'll send out some emails. When you respond, just respond back to me directly. Do not reply all. Once we get through that, construction documents will be developed. We'll review the parts and pieces of the buildings. Basically, this will be the windows and structure itself, how everything's put together. There'll be a lot more detail in that. Once those are done, we'll go to the pre-qualification for GCs and sub-bidders, and then go out to a bid with our documents. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Once we get moving forward, we'll have a little bit more detail on the next steps. All right.
George, which boards will they be approaching for permits and things like that? They'll be going before the planning board, I believe, for site work and things like that?
Right, all that'll happen. Building permits will all be pulled, and it'll go through the normal process, conservation, everything. It'll all be part of the whole process.
Judge, I have a question as well. This may be a little deeper dive than what you said, but I've been talking to a couple of architects who are concerned that we're not going to be doing something called commissioning on the projects, and they've said that it should be done, so I don't, is that part of the contract?
Yeah, once we get into that, we'll start looking at, and there will be actually, we'll have a kind of a subcommittee of people that will be doing pre-qualifying for some of these as we go through, so, yeah, that'll all be part of the next steps coming out, so.
It was explained to me what it was, I didn't know what commissioning was until they explained it was, you take every little piece that you've put into place to make sure it's working correctly.
Right.
And explained that it's a very important piece that he thought when he was watching the committee meetings that we were excluding, and advised that we probably should not exclude that portion.
To have a
of the project.
commissioning agent working with us.
Right. So I'm just throwing that out there. It seemed to make sense to me when I was talking to the person. So.
That'll be a good point to bring up when we're in the beginning steps of our meeting, so, especially in our design development. Any other?
Just, yeah, maybe folks in the room know better than I do, as I haven't been involved in this project from the beginning, but now that we're sort of through the first phase, as it were, and on to the next steps, what's the process with the OPM? Does Dan and his firm just continue along?
Well, we're going to discuss that. That is the next item on our agenda.
Did I jump ahead?
Right, you did, sorry.
Segue.
Good segue and intro into it. So, the part of the original contract as we go through, there are sections into it that are built into that contract. So we can, once we all put a recommendation in, it goes to the town manager, and then it'll continue on with our recommendation. Any other discussion? Question? No? Yeah, I don't want to move it along too fast. I mean, this wasn't planned to be a long meeting tonight, just some of the discussions on the next steps. So that being my segue, I'd like to discuss the design teams and the OPM's project manager to discuss recommendation on continuation of the services for both projects. And I'd like to take them up as each project. So, and at the end, I would entertain either a motion with a second continuation. So for the senior center, we'll start for the designer of Deeds and Company with Lee Morissette, and our owner's project manager, P3, Dan Pilata. Any discussion on continuation or recommendation, continuation with their services?
I am very pleased with, first of all, with Lee and his design and how he took so much time and effort to really have a good understanding. And I think it would be great to be able to have him be able to continue and just taking one at a time, the architect versus the OPM. But speaking of the architect.
Would you put that in, Ed? Would that be a motion?
I just wanted to, it's just further discussion, that's all, sorry.
Sure.
It's just for the edification of everybody here. If we don't continue on with the OPM and the design firm, what happens?
Well, then we have to kind of go back to the drawing board. I would believe we'd have to go back to the contract and go through the process again.
Okay, I'm fully in favor of staying with the OPM and the designer,
Right.
but I just wanted to get that out in the open.
And to be clear, I'll go through, so this will be for the senior center building
Sure.
committee, and I'll ask each member, so we'll do a roll call.
Okay.
So instead of taking a, majority, we'll ask.
Well, I have no problem putting it in a motion that we accept the design team, as Terry said, of Deeds and Company, along with the owner's project manager, P3, to continue on with their services for the final design and construction of the Wilmington Senior Center.
I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion and seconded.
Judge, excuse me, are you taking them up separately?
They will be taken up separately.
Okay, because the motion was them together. So would you want one for Dietz and,
The projects are separate.
The project separate.
no, I know the project's separate, but do you want
The project
one for the
manager.
designer to vote in favor or against, then one for the OPM to vote in favor or against.
I could take it either way.
I haven't
I
to
just
say
brought it
both.
up as discussion, I didn't realize it was Mickey.
Yeah, you happen to say both, I can take them as both. If I have, you're fine with that? We can break it out either way.
I think for form, it should be broken out,
Yeah,
but I fully support the motion that was made
well,
originally.
would you amend your motion?
I can amend it. We can just do the architect first. Then I would recommend that the town proceed with the services for Dietz and Company as the architect for final design and construction of the Wilmington Senior Center.
All right.
Second.
Have a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
So, the vote in favor, Diane Allen, Jack Holloway, Teresa Manganelli, Terry Marciello, Paul Malorani,
Yes.
Lila Maselli.
Yes.
Very good, thank you very much. But entertain a motion for continuing on with our OPM. for the senior center.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Paul Malorani,
It doesn't matter.
Guys can arm wrestle.
all right, and I'll run right down and go. Diane Allen,
Yes.
Jack Holloway.
Yep.
Teresa Manganelli,
Yes.
Terry Marciello,
Yes.
Paul Malorani,
Yes.
Lila Maselli,
Yes.
George Hooper, yes. Okay. It's unanimous, thank you very much. I'd like to do the same thing for the town hall school admin building.
Make a motion to keep P3?
Motion made by John Doherty to maintain P3 as our OPM.
I'll second that, George.
Second, Jesse Finley. I'll do a roll call vote. Diane Allen,
Yes.
Kevin Kyra,
No,
John Doherty,
Yes.
Jesse Finley,
Yes.
Jack Holloway,
Yes.
Paul Malorani,
Yes.
Paul Ruggiero,
Yes.
George Hooper, yes. All right, entertain.
Make a motion to maintain the design team?
I have a motion to maintain the design team of Johnson Roberts with Phil O'Brien. Do I have a second?
I will also second that motion, George.
Jesse Finley. Diane Allen,
Yes.
Kevin Kyra,
yes,
John Doherty,
Yes.
Jesse Finley,
Yes.
Jack Holloway,
Yes.
Paul Malorani,
Yes.
Paul Ruggiero.
Yes.
Aye. All right. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in favor and 1 against. All right,
just on the OPM. I voted in favor of the architect.
just on the OPM.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any discussion on that?
Yeah, I'll ask the question. Why no, Kevin?
I'm disappointed in how he addressed it to the public. He didn't have any public forums before the selections of the site. I just didn't think he did a good enough job for the residents of Wilmington.
And, okay, I mean, committee members, that's their opinion, that's the way they can vote on things, I don't wanna call anybody out
Sure.
on their vote. I'd like to discuss the meetings coming up, as far as Wednesday night, does that seem to work for people? So we're gonna kind of see how it works out, once we get into the construction phase, they might be a lot more daytime meetings, but, I can see this project, once we get the design development documents going, we don't want to take too much time. We want to kind of keep this rolling. And the only reason I say that is for obvious reasons of cost escalation, the way things are going right now.
no.
Yeah, so we don't want it to really impact these two projects. All right?
So George, just as a quick question, maybe this is directed to Jeff. So are you in the process right now of meeting with both architects and P3 as far as negotiating contracts?
I will be getting price proposals from them in terms of the next phase, yes, and then having that conversation.
Okay.
Right.
So as the
So
chair,
the-
I will make the recommendation, I will write it up from our committees to the manager. He'll reach out and, as I said, there is a segment in there, so he'll review it and then contact.
Right, so the way each of the contracts was structured, which is essentially the same as was done with the high school when the OPM at that time and the architect were contracted, there's provisions that, the first phase is feasibility, and then once that's complete, the language in the contract allows for the town to continue with the services of the architect in the OPM, or if the town decided it didn't want to go that route, it could opt out at that point. So certainly based upon the recommendation, and I don't, I think it's appropriate to continue with the services. So.
Any rough time frame when you think that these contracts would be ratified?
Certainly as soon as possible. I'm expecting within the next week, or 2 at the most, but certainly as soon as possible. I want to really move this along so we can get into the final design phase and then development of specifications and then put it out to bid.
I'll discuss with the OPM, setting up a meeting with both so we can get into the design development documents and see how we can get rolling with this. So.
Will he be giving us, Dan be giving us a sort of a list of, different
He'll
stages
give you
at which,
He'll give you timelines.
time frame, right?
Different timelines on
Yeah.
how long it's going to take for each one of these phases. I believe it's like 2 months for design development, so site and building, so because we want to be able to get our construction documents together and get ready to go out to bid
Right,
as soon as we can. So,
right. Okay.
all
Sounds
right.
good.
Any other discussion? Next item is public comment.
Well, I wasn't gonna say anything, but the reason I'm here tonight is I've heard rumors that this whole thing could fall apart, or somebody could get up and re-vote it. Is that true or not?
Well, that's not for this committee. We're going on the presumption that we're continuing on, so.
So when will we know that, or we will never know?
No,
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I'm here.
Just curious, and Bill, Kevin, maybe you guys know better. I think that could have been offered as a reconsideration at town meeting, but now that we're past that, I don't know if that's it's possible, but.
I will speak to the speculation of what she's talking about, and I'll tell you it came from Facebook, at least for me, that there was some talk in some of the, chats there that someone had said, we should try and, my words, overturn it. We only need X amount of people to get back in, So I think that's where it came from, just from my knowledge of what I had heard, but I haven't heard anything more than that.
Well, anyway, I heard that that's why we don't have a new library, because it got passed and then sometime down the road, I don't know how long this takes, for somebody to stand up and say, we don't want it in. That's my feeling.
Well, we'll just say, with this committee, I think these 2 projects passed because the facts were given and the needs were identified, and that's why they passed at town meeting. So we're going to continue to move forward until there's not going to be what ifs or what could happen or may happen. We're just going to continue on at this point.
Sorry I brought it up.
No apologies needed.
That's why
Through the
I'm here.
chair. through the chair, I was gonna bring it up myself. I think it's on everybody's mind. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it certainly is on my mind.
Yep. Same.
If a certain group of residents can, get a petition or come to the spring town meeting and rescind what we've been doing for 18 months. I mean, is that a fact? I've not, I don't know, if you talk to town council, I mean, where do we stand on that? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, it's certainly possible, sure.
Yeah, I mean, it is a democracy, so people can, there are means and methods. So could a small group get together and undo what, the good work that's been done?
So then, again, another $1 million question is, at what point do they not, or are not able to do that? I mean, if the shovel's in the ground and we're starting to put in footings or whatever I'm not a construction person, can they still do that?
Yeah, I'm not, that's for legal counsel to answer, that's not for myself, but I would think once we're in construction, there would be some heavy contractual.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, I don't wanna necessarily give them the roadmap, so to speak, so I'm a little reluctant to talk about what that.
I think they know what road, I think they know what road they're on, unfortunately.
But I do think it also gives, if they were to go down that road, and I may be wrong, and I don't wanna get into it either, but that it's not just, they might need a certain amount of people to be against it, but the people who are for it also have to show up too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not that they could just stop it, but
And from what I know from these meetings, like yourself, when we're borrowing money, you need a certain percentage, you need
Yeah.
a 2/3 vote.
exactly,
But when it comes to something like that, that would be a majority.
Yeah.
So it's not a 2/3 vote, it's 51%.
yeah, so.
So it's not talk about it. Yeah.
But if you can talk to Mark about it.
Yeah. So,
See what he has to say. I do think it's-
any other questions?
Okay.
All right. Yeah, that wasn't part of the agenda, but
No, it's a good question.
yeah, it's all good.
I agree, it's been on our mind.
Again, I appreciate everybody's hard work and due diligence that we've done on this. I mean, there's a lot of effort put into so. All right,
Motion to adjourn?
I have a motion to adjourn, do I have a second?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
So thank you.
Thank you, everybody, that was quick.